What I do, guys, is I often prep the show in the afternoon, and sometimes I have to have a bit of a guess, and I look what's on, TVNZ website, and I go, oh, yeah, that'll be featured in the news tonight. It's kind of really just slipped by. No one's really had a look at it. That charter schools revived as bill passes final reading. Legislation reintroducing charter schools has passed its final reading in Parliament. The third reading on Wednesday saw passionate speeches both for and against the bill, which revives the alternative education model. The change, promised at National's coalition agreement with the ACT Party, has been spearheaded by ACT leader and Associate Education Minister. God, how much does that feel like a different universe? David Seymour. He told the House groups, including the Iwi Chairs Forum, had written to him expressing strong support for the reintroduction of charter schools. They, the Iwi Chairs Forum, know that communities know more about how to engage their children than the people in Wellington most of the time. And so we're going to invite people and communities to start up schools, and they're going to get the money the state school would have spent on the same child at a state school if, and this is important, high standards are met. Seymour said charter schools would be required to have high standards of attendance achievement and financial probity. I don't know what that word means. Probity. This is the pushback. Green MP Lawrence Zunan said the legislation was not about education but privatisation. Who actually benefits from this bill? It's not the children, it's not the teachers, and it's certainly not the parents that they care so much about. It's the privatised companies, the overseas companies that will want to come here and take New Zealand money. National MP Carl Bates said some charter schools would be non-profit, some, arguing, and mind you, non-profit doesn't mean you can't earn a shit ton of money. It just means you have to have a zero-sum balance at the end of the financial year. That's all it means. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled, baby. Oh, you know that. We better get that Maybach. We've got some money left over. Let's get that Mercedes Maybach to put us at a zero balance as a company car. Some charter schools will be non-profit, arguing this undercut the opposition's criticism that the alternative education model was about making money. They're not for profit, but the person who owns the company is drawing a $300,000 salary off it to make sure it ends up at a zero balance. This is about lifting student achievement. The opposition are trying to characterise this bill as about being about the market, as opposed to being about ensuring we deliver opportunities for lifting student achievement here in New Zealand. Te Pāti Māori MP Takuta Ferris said the Iwi Chairs Forum only supported the legislation because it funded extra models built on self-determination. It funded education models. Tino Rangatiratanga models of education have been in existence since 1981, and you've never supported them. Don't go fluffing your feathers like you're doing something good now for it now, because you're not. The legislation passed with support from National, ACT, New Zealand First, with Labour, the Greens and Te Pāti Māori opposed it. I just want to say one thing before I throw it to you guys. This whole thing about lifting student achievement. This government at the moment is making huge noises about how we need to fix the curriculum in New Zealand. The curriculum in all sorts of areas needs to be fixed. We need a world-class curriculum. We need to do it and have the best in the world so our children are the best. That's their argument. A charter school doesn't need to use the New Zealand curriculum. That's part of being a charter school. So on one hand, the government's saying, everyone's been doing it wrong. We know the way to have the best school. We're going to fix up curriculum documents so all these schools end up being at a world-class level. Start a charter school? No, you don't have to use what we're saying now as a world-class system. It just seems to be a bit of hypocrisy there. Chewy?
I was reading a story earlier this week because, of course, the charter school program has been used for quite a long time in the US, and that's where Seymour's getting a lot of his ideas from. It's real funny when you look into it. Like I'm looking at it as most Minnesota charter schools are failing to make good on their promises. Minnesota created charter schools to be more independent than their public school counterparts, allowing them to innovate and better help struggling students. But the lack of oversight often leads to financial mismanagement and fewer resources when things go wrong. Stop me if this sounds really familiar. The idea born in Minnesota was a daring one: create an entirely new type of public school, independent and unshackled from the constraints of traditional bureaucracy. These charter schools would be led by teachers and community members. They would be incubators for new ideas and methods. They would boost academic achievement of students struggling in regular schools. The idea quickly spread. 45 US states have followed Minnesota's lead in this, and the outcomes for students is pitiful. The amount of these schools that just shot out of nowhere and disrupt the students' lives as they try to get into other schools, the absolute failure of academic achievement, people years and years behind the curve because of these guys. And that's not what we hear from Seymour. And then last time we tried charter schools here, just one example. What was it? A guy called Alwyn Poole. Last time round, the Attorney General found deficiencies in his handling of the charter schools that he was running with public money, such as the school board authorizing a $450,000 payment to a trust run by his wife. Like, this is like when you're talking about, we're not for profit. People like not for profits. We've got $450,000 of taxpayer money left over.
Yeah.
We've got to pay this. We had to pay an invoice. We had to pay an invoice to my wife, and the money's gone. The system works. Like, this is what we're opening it up to. And then this is not all schools. This is what it opens up. It opens up the opportunity for this happening. Like, have we had any principals of public schools suddenly move into a mansion, do an outdoor pool, and don't get the gym built? No, we don't have that. It does not happen. But with charter schools, it could happen. The system works.
Emily.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. I want to like charter schools. I do. I really want to like them because I agree with the innovation point of it. Like, there is some cool stuff happening. I think it was somewhere. It's always America. I mean, it's the only place that has it. But there is a school that's doing really well, and it's very much based on technology, student-led curriculums, or like going at their own pace. And you've got year 11s, 12s, and 13s that are doing college level papers and projects before they even get to college, and it's working really, really well. There's probably some holes in it, but it's working really well, and I'd love to see something like that here. But I don't know whether or not just opening up the floodgates and going, anyone can come here and do it, is the right way to do it. Like, I think it's very targeted the way that you do it. You have one school that's doing maybe something, and then you allow them to do that. And after they've proven, even if it's come from overseas, that they've proven that this works. So you're not just going, you guys figure it out. Like, that concerns me quite a bit.
I think the argument for charter schools is actually an argument for opening up some flexibility in public schools.
Yeah.
Like, if they can, if they're good enough to be a charter school and they're hitting those sort of things, why can they not be part of the public system? I don't understand. And I don't understand why they get so much more public money per pupil to get those achievements.
But you say that,
then
Joey.
the argument of, like, okay, so let's give more money to public schools. We've had the discussion that, like, charter schools could be great for Māori, as an example. You know, they could do a school how they want to. And I wonder how ACT would react to that. The only thing that's ever held up is Vanguard as a military school.
I just want to double check, Joey, because we've said this a few times. But Seymour said today, and I'll just read it again, like that they get more money per student.
I remember a figure of
people in
of
communities
like
to start schools up, and they're going to get the same money the state would have spent on the same child at a state school if and this is
Okay.
important. High standards are met. So I mean, I don't know. Is there something in that? Because we have said that a few times. We want to try and be accurate. I'm not saying that what we've been saying is wrong, but it seems that what he's saying now is it's going to be the same money. But I understand the reports you've read as well, that I've seen them, that say it's so much more. So
yeah, it was something like 10 to 13,000 per school year per pupil, compared to, well, I think it was closer to 50 grand for a charter school. Like, if Seymour's telling the truth there, then it removes one of my arguments. I don't want to see an unfair comparison of here's a public school that gets fuck all money, and we're going to compare it to this school that gets gold-plated treatment.
this is what we do. We do things live. We're doing it live. The National and ACTIX. This is an OIO. Shows the eye-watering true cost of charter schools.
Yeah, this is where I got that figure from.
I guess what we need to do is we say they're saying it's going to be different. There's not going to be this tomfoolery, but up till right now, the National and ACT experiment with charter schools that ran from 2014 to 2018 cost up to $48,000 per student annually, more than 6 times the average funding spent on students in state schools. New OIA document released to NZDI show. When adjusted for inflation, that is more than $60,000 per student in today's money. In comparison, today, public schools are funded at around $9,000 per student. So that's six times the amount. So I just want to, Micho, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to trying to be accurate. That's what it's saying then. What he's saying today is it's going to be the same. So that means they're going to get 9,000 per student. I mean, that sounds a pretty tough way to run it. If you've got to do all of the funding yourself, that means a school of, my maths is never going to work. 200 kids, what is that? $180,000? 200 times 9,000? Oh, 1.8 million. I was close. 180,000. 1.8 million. Oh,
you need to go to a maths charter school.
1.8 million, 7 classrooms. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. But compare that to, let's do this then. Compare that to 200 students times 60,000. If it was that, 12 million. So that would be 12 million versus 1.8 million in today's money for a 200 school. There's your $450,000 going to your wife's trust for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to wrap up with the M? Anything you want to talk about with that or share? This is tangent time. Chewy always keeps us around for about an extra 40 minutes to do tangent time.
I can help with that. Can we make that 80 minutes? Yeah. I don't know. I had an argument, but I can't remember what it was now. So that's right.
While you're having a think, so a couple of super chats. Wooming says charter schools equals cha-ching for the owners. Thank you for the super chat.
Oh, that's what it. Yeah, that's
Mr.
what it was.
Arvid says Takuta Ferris is so based. Yep, go M. That was it. That's what it is.
I was going to say that they're cutting. Well, they're not cutting funding, but they're not obviously funding education as much as they need to. Cutting all the back staff, which makes lives for teachers much easier. But then they're funding charter schools instead. So why don't they just put the money into the public system? Like,
yeah.
If it was like about privatization and bringing money in, like their money in to build schools, that kind of fits their MO. But they're not doing that. They're taking money from the public sector and putting it into private schools. That doesn't make any sense. And it's just annoying because the education sector needs more money.
I also wonder if they'll get their successors. Maybe let's be generous and say it's not the money that gets them there. It's the smaller classroom sizes. Now that's something that teachers have been going on about for decades. That to be effective teachers, they need smaller and smaller classrooms or more help in the classroom with teachers' assistants, that sort of thing, and they never get them. So if it turns out that these charter schools have classroom sizes of 15 to 20 and everybody does really fucking well on the same amount of money, well, again, there's your answer. We need more teachers. We need more classrooms.
Yeah, but
to
that's
get more
not what's going to happen.
We need to train more teachers. We need to pay them. So it goes round and round and round. We go.
That's not going to happen, though. They're just going to say, this charter school is doing well. Keep doing what you're doing. And they won't make any changes to the public sector. They won't use any of it as evidence. And you just have these, like private schools, right? You've got these fantastic schools that have got, so much money going into them. Insanely good results. But Of course they are, because it's all private money, and it's the public sector just gets fucked over every fucking time. It pisses me off.
All right.
Welcome, comrade.
If you know anything about the show, we always leave pissed off, don't we, Chewy? If nothing else, you can be assured that we always leave pissed off. So well done, Emily. Welcome to the team.
Thanks, guys.
I mean,
thanks, appreciate it.